Hi guys, welcome back to Purple Glimmer Budgets. My name is Katie in case this is the first video of mine you're watching. I got to thinking, you know what, the holidays, they're just around the corner, and I don't know about you, but they can be very overwhelming for me when it comes to budgeting for them. But don't worry, I'm gonna go ahead and share some of my tips and tricks that I do to keep myself in check when it comes to the holiday season. This way I can actually enjoy the holidays and I'm not too busy being stressed out over my budget. Along with sharing some of these tips and tricks to keep yourself in line when it comes to budgeting for the holiday season, I also want to share some products that I've been using this year that have really helped me out to kind of keep me in check and set me up perfectly for the holiday season. Now, before I go into all the tips that I want to share with you, let's explore why is holiday budgeting so important? If we didn't budget for the holidays, it would be very easy for us to go ahead and overspend and then lead us into unnecessary debt starting off with the new year, which that's never fun. Debt can be extraordinarily stressful. But if we plan ahead or use some of these tips and tricks, that'll set us up for the best success we can to get through this holiday season without going over budget. So let's discuss what are common areas of spending when it comes to holidays. You have your gifts, then you have food, travel. So if you have family that you need to travel to, you need to factor that in as well because that can be pretty expensive. There's also decorations, and if you have Christmas pictures, you also have to plan for the Christmas Day outfits or the Christmas picture outfits, so that can be pretty costly as well. Now that we've discussed all the areas of spending, let's discuss how you can start making your budget. So there's two different ways that you can make your budget. One, you can start with your overall budget amount and then work backwards into your categories, or you can look at the categories one by one and then add those up and then you come up with your overall budget. Either one of those will work. Let me go ahead and go into them in more detail. Option one, as I discussed, is you start with your overall budget. So you decide, okay, I have $3,000 I need to spend, and then you work backwards. So in both of these, you're gonna wanna list out all of your categories. In this one in particular, you're gonna wanna make sure that you are listing them in order of priority. So then you're gonna wanna go down the line, take a look back. What did you spend last year? And put them in there. Once you've done that, add it up, find out, did this fall in my budget? Am I under budget? Am I over budget? Compared to that overall budget that I did. If you're under budget, great. What you can do is you can take the additional that you have left and put it into a miscellaneous category, and then that'll act as a buffer to kind of keep you in check. If you're over budget, then you want to take a look. Again, this is where prioritizing all of your categories come in hand. So look down them, see is there any that you can trim the fat with, and then go ahead and do that. Now, when you're doing this, you want to make sure that you're setting a realistic budget. The biggest thing when it comes to budgeting is you want to have a realistic budget. If you're going very strict and that's something that you can't stick with, what's going to happen is you're going to fail and you're just going to give up and throw it out the window, and then you're going to overspend. And then going back to if the amount was less than what your overall budget is, you have that miscellaneous category. Now, don't feel that you have to completely spend that because whatever is left over in that at the end, that's just a start to next year's savings, which that's great. Now, option two is you take that same list of categories and then you, again, go back and you look and see what you spent there. And then you add them all up and you then see, okay, so this is the amount it comes up to. You take a look at it and you say, is this something that I can save for? Is this something that I already have the money for? Is this realistic for me to attain by the time I need to spend this money? If it is, great, now you have your budget. If it's not, then you need to, again, go back to the different categories, find different ways that you can trim the fat, trim some of the spending, and then you'll have your budget. Now, option two, that's what I used to set my Christmas budget. However, I did that last year, prepping for this year. So I looked at all of the spending that I did on my kids for their gifts. I looked at kind of what we spend for all the other different areas as far as gifts are concerned, and then any other additional spending that I want to do for the year, and I came up with a budget of $3,000. Now, with that budget in mind, I started using the next product that I want to kind of show you to kind of help motivate me to get that $3,000 saved, and it actually allowed me to get that saved much faster than I normally would have. And that's with my Christmas binder. So this is the version of the Christmas binder that I chose to use this year. This is my large Christmas binder, and then this is my snow globe print. I'm gonna go over all the details here in a minute. You can find this on my Etsy shop. So I have it in this large size, and then the next size, I'm just gonna show you for size representation because I don't have to show right now because I don't have one made. So then the smaller size is this, but it will be in the different festive category that you determine. So for now, just so that way you can kind of see, I'm gonna go through my larger size so that way you can see the details. Larger on this screen is better. So again, I chose the snow globe, And then I also kind of was a little bit extra, and this is something that you can message me to have done unless it's already built in the listing. I plan on doing that soon. So on mine, I went ahead and used a glitter overlay for my lamination, but I just had my inserts all be the same. And then this is also an extra. It doesn't come with this, but I made this for myself. And this is a tracking bookmark. So you can kind of put it where you're at so that way you're not having to flip through like crazy. So when I used this actually let me get my money saved much faster, and I was actually shocked by how early I had this saved. I want to say I was done by like October, September-ish. I'm not sure. I will go ahead and put that in text on this screen. In my shop, I like to have a lot of custom items because I find things that you can get excited about, they help motivate you for savings. So I have 4 different options when it comes to the prints. There you go. So this one is going to be what I call my retro ornament. And you also have your choice of different budgets. Right now I have budgets from $1,000 all the way up to $3,000 in increments of $500. If you need something beyond that, message me and I can easily make you a custom listing. So that was print number 1. And then this one is what I call Farm Fresh. I know that farmhouse is very popular, so I thought that this print would be really fun. And then I also have the poinsettia, which is classic. And then the one that I love, this is a look of how it comes standard. And then this is the snow globe. I fell in love with it because I love snow globes. They're so fun. And then also, regardless of whether you choose the large size or the small size, they each come with 25 different sleeves. Now your large size, it's a 4-pocket sleeve, and then your small size, again, this is not the festive version, has a 2-pocket sleeve. So in your large size, you will have 100 different slots to fill up, and then on your small side, you'll have 50. So that's just something to keep in mind when it comes to the budget. So again, here are the different prints. So each print will correspond back to the cover, and then the amount that's actually on the card will correspond back to your budget. So if you have the 100 sleeve one, so this is the larger size, if you have a $3,000 budget, $30 is what's going to be on your card. So if you had that same $3,000 budget on the small side, instead of being $30 on the card, it'll say $60. So how does this work? How does this motivate you? Well, first off, it's really fun and pretty, and that's very motivating to me. And then beyond that, what you do is you flip into it, and then you fill each sleeve whenever you have a chance to cash stuff. And then by the time you have it filled up, then you'll have your entire budget saved up. Now, let's say that you're not comfortable having $3,000 of cash on hand in your house at all times. Completely understand. Then here's another option for you. And this is kind of what I did to save up my first couple thousand, like $2,000, I think is what I had saved up, because I wasn't very comfortable. I know my husband wasn't very comfortable having thousands of dollars sitting here. So what I did is I just had a regular envelope. This isn't the envelope, but this is the Christmas one that I have. And then you can have a tracker to kind of also track your progress. And then this allows you to kind of use placeholder slips to keep your cash on hand in your house very minimal if you're one of those that want to have money in your high yield savings earning interest or just aren't comfortable having tons of cash laying around. Now, once I completed this challenge, I knew I wasn't going to want to carry this into the store because it was going to be really bulky, and then I have to go into each sleeve and take out all the $30 that I have in here. So I knew that this really wasn't feasible for the actual spending of it. So I knew I wanted to have something else to go ahead and house everything when I spent everything. And that's where I kind of came up to like the second part. So I had my overall budget, so I had that idea. Then I'm kind of going back into option 2 and undoing everything and figuring out, well, okay, now I have this $3,000 spent. Where am I going to put it all? So that's where this next product came into play. So here, this is what I call my Christmas spending wallet. So I went with the green because I really love green and it ties in perfectly to the holidays. And so within it, I'm like, let me break all of my spending into the different categories. So I took a list, wrote all the categories out that I wanted to save or that I wanted to spend my money on, and I created a custom envelope for each one of those. Now, I don't have this list on my Etsy shop, but I'm more than happy to throw together some custom envelopes just like this for you if you want. Now, mine are a little bit different because they're not handmade. They are factory made, and then I put some clear sticker paper over to kind of give it like a handmade look. But if you've watched some of my other videos, you'll know that I'm very rough when it comes to my cash envelopes. So my handmade envelopes, they weren't lasting up to me. So I really loved these factory made envelopes because if you watch some of my other videos, you'll see, especially in my month ahead video, I'm putting them to their max. So I'll like have 20 more, sometimes like 50 maybe sometimes, stuffed in there. And it's like really bulgy and they're not popping. So that's why I really love these envelopes. So my categories I came up with is decor, and then this is me. That's the most awkward envelope to have, but when it comes to spending, well, we're gonna be spending money on me because I'm part of the family, and my husband's money is my money and it's all accounted for in here, so I had to have an envelope. I felt so weird making one for myself. And then I have Vanny, that's my husband. And then Drake, that's our oldest. And then Kane, that's our youngest son. Olivia, hold on. Olivia, she's our oldest daughter. And then Alexis, she's our youngest. And then parents, so this is for my husband's parents and my mom. So this is any spending we do for there. And then siblings, that's for my husband's brother and their spouses, as well as my sister. And then kids, this is all of our nieces and nephews. And then teachers, can't forget about your teachers for your kids. They have your kids, they're dealing with them all day long, so you wanna go ahead and spoil them a little bit at Christmas. And then miscellaneous, I'm not gonna explain what this is because my kids are watching and I don't want them to know. So that's just kind of what I have going on. So I felt that this was much more realistic for actually doing the spending. And then you'll also kind of note that I have some placeholders in mind because I just didn't want to have that cash sitting around here. When it gets closer to time for us to be spending, I'll go ahead and swap that out for cash. Now that I've gone over a lot of my favorite products that I've been using this season to make holiday budgeting easier on me, let's go into some of the tips. My first tip, which I've already kind of touched on in this video, is start saving early. The earlier, the better. If you start early, you'll have many more weeks to save up, which makes it easier to save that up. So let's go ahead and do some math here. So my budget is $3,000. So 3,000 divided by 52, that means I only have to save less than $60 a week. That's really easy. Now, let's say that I'm like, oh my Lord, I need to save 3,000. And I did it within like 3 months, let's say. So 3 times, that's 12 weeks. So 3,000 divided by 12 is now $250. That's really, really hard for most people. So if I started early, like a year ahead, which I did, that made it so much easier. At that point, I'm like, I knew in my head, I need to save $60. So if you watch a lot of my cash stuffings, you'll see that when I was using my Christmas envelope, I was stuffing $60 in there. And then once I got closer, I knew that I wanted to put it into my big binder to kind of give me that extra push as we were getting closer to knock this out of the park faster. So that way I definitely had it all available for spending. Tip number 2 is if you're new to budgeting and you're not very disciplined, keep it to cash. If you don't have the cash and you're only using cash, you can't overspend. Now, if you've been in the cash budgeting space for a while and you've gotten the discipline and you're ready to use credit, then you can use the credit if that's what you need to do. But if you know you're not disciplined, stick to cash. That's why we're all here. That's why we do cash budgeting. There is something about touching cash, only having cash, only using cash that keeps your budget in check. My third tip is plan around with the sales. Now, I love Black Friday. I do a lot of my shopping on Black Friday. I am scouring the internet weeks ahead of time looking to see those Black Friday ads drop, and most of them drop ahead of time. And I just go through there, I look at the different things that are on sale and I see, is there anything on here that I would find as being a very good gift for someone on my list? And if I do, I go ahead and shop that because you can get a lot of good deals at Black Friday. However, you also want to make sure just because it's in a Black Friday ad doesn't mean it's the best price. So kind of look around at the different things that you want to buy and kind of have an idea, because I have seen some retailers increase their prices ahead of Black Friday to let you know now it's on sale, but it's really not. So you want to keep that in mind. I know that when I'm shopping on Amazon, I think I have the honey add-on, and so I can kind of track some of the price history on different things, and that's where I have caught Amazon being really bad about that. So kind of look in some of those different add-ons. I know there's a ton of them out there just to kind of make sure that you are getting a good deal. Also, if your budget's really tight, that leads to my fourth tip, DIY gifts. I know that to me, a meaningful gift, that's what I'm looking for. But anyways, those are some of the tips and tricks that I use to kind of keep my holiday budgeting in check and why I think holiday budgeting is so important. So drop me some comments below. What do you do to keep your holiday budget in check? What tips do you have? Let's go ahead and share. That's what I love about this community, is we're all willing to step in and help each other out. So hope you guys had some fun watching this video, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye guys.